If you're watching this and you're 60 or older, or you travel with a parent or grandparent who's 60 plus, this might be one of the most important travel videos you ever see. Because there are perks, services, and quiet policies inside airports and airlines that can make travel easier, faster, and sometimes cheaper for seniors. And most people never use them. Not because they don't qualify, but because nobody tells them they exist. And here's the part that sounds almost unbelievable until you experience it yourself. A lot of these benefits are not automatic. Even if you're eligible, they don't just show up like a reward. You have to ask. You have to know what to say. So if you've ever watched an older traveler struggling through a long security line, dragging a bag, exhausted before the flight even starts, or if that older traveler is you, I want you to stay with me. Because by the end of this video, you're going to have simple phrases you can use in real life, not complicated legal language, not a 10-page policy document, just real human sentences you can say at the counter that can completely change how the airport treats you. And stay until the end because I'm going to give you a 3-sentence cheat code you can literally save in your phone. It's the kind of thing you pull up on travel day, read once, and suddenly you're moving through the airport like you have a VIP pass, even if you're flying the cheapest economy seat. Now, before we get into the list, let's talk about the reason this even happens. Airports and airlines are businesses. Every extra thing they provide, wheelchairs, electric carts, staff escorts, priority lanes, baggage flexibility, gate assistance, seat changes, costs money and staff time. So what do? They don't necessarily advertise these perks loudly. They don't put it on giant signs. They bury it in fine print. They keep it as something you request instead of something they offer, because if you never ask, they don't have to spend $1. So here's the golden rule of travel, especially for seniors. The travel system rewards the people who ask. Now I'm going to walk you through this in the exact order you actually travel. Before you leave home, at check-in, at security, at the gate, on the plane, and then the big one, what to do when something goes wrong, like a delay or cancellation. And as we go, I'll give you exact phrases to use, plus little do's and don'ts that matter way more than people think. All right, let's start before you even leave for the airport. A lot of people believe the biggest travel myth of modern times, the cheapest ticket is always on booking apps. And honestly, sometimes it is. But for seniors, it can be completely wrong. Here's why. Those comparison sites usually don't know your age. They just show standard fares. But some airlines offer senior discounts or senior-friendly fares that may only appear on the airline's official website, or may only show up if you enter the passenger's date of birth or choose a specific passenger type. So if you're 60 plus and you book the first price you see on a third-party site, you might be paying full price while a senior price exists somewhere else. So here's a simple habit. Before you book, always check the airline's official website for the same flight. Even if the price looks similar, the conditions can be better, like more flexible changes, seat selection, or baggage options. And if you want to go one level deeper, do this. Call the airline. Yes, actually call, or use their official chat support, and ask one sentence. Do you offer senior fares? That's it. No long explanation, just that. Worst case, they say no. Best case, you get a better price or better conditions that you never would have seen on the app. Now let's talk about the next big money trap, baggage. Airlines make a shocking amount of money on baggage fees. It's a huge revenue stream. That's why you often feel like the baggage rules are designed to confuse you just enough to make you pay. And seniors get hit especially hard because they're more likely to pack carefully, bring items they need for comfort, and sometimes travel with gifts or medications or essentials that don't fit in one tiny bag. So here's the thing. Some airlines and routes have policies or flexibility that can benefit older travelers. Sometimes extra weight allowances, sometimes reduced fees, sometimes an extra bag, sometimes a little grace. And many times it's not something they promote. So at the check-in counter, you can ask politely, is there any extra baggage allowance for senior passengers? Again, simple question. Now, I want to be honest, this won't work on every airline. Some will say, no, baggage rules are the same for everyone. Fine, you asked, you tried. That's already a win, because most people don't even ask. But when it does work, it can save you real money, and more importantly, it can save you stress, because nothing ruins the start of a trip like getting surprised by a fee and feeling stuck. Now we're at the airport. This is where the biggest quality of life upgrades can happen. I want to talk about something that most people misunderstand: airport assistance. When people hear assistance, they picture someone in a wheelchair with a medical condition. And yes, airport assistance absolutely exists for that, and it's important. But many airports and airlines also provide assistance that can help seniors who may not have a formal disability, but who would benefit from less walking, less standing, and more support. And it might include things like wheelchair service if you want it, electric carts to the gate, a staff member who escorts you, help navigating a huge terminal, and sometimes help moving through crowded areas. Now, here's the crucial part. You usually do not get this by just hoping someone notices you look tired. You get it by requesting it. So here's the phrase I want you to remember. I would like to request airport assistance for a senior passenger. That sentence alone can open a door, and you can use it in a few different ways. If you're the senior traveler, you say it yourself. If you're traveling with a parent, you say it on their behalf. If you booked through someone else, you still say it, because it's a service request, not a special favor. And here's what I want you to understand. Requesting assistance does not mean you're weak. It doesn't mean you're being dramatic. It's literally a tool designed to make travel accessible. Airports are massive. Walking to a gate can be the equivalent of walking a mile, sometimes more, under stress, with noise, with crowds, with heavy bags.
So if someone is 60 plus and that walking is a burden, there is zero shame in asking for help. Now, some people worry, what if they think I'm lying? What if they ask for paperwork? Usually, you don't have to over-explain. You can simply say, I'd like to request assistance due to age and mobility comfort. Keep it calm, keep it respectful, keep it simple. And here's another trick that matters. Ask early. If you know you'll need help, request it when you book, or at least when you check in. Don't wait until you're already exhausted and late to the gate. The earlier you request, the easier it is for the system to arrange it. Now, let's talk about something that sounds small but makes a huge difference: priority lanes. Big airports can have long, brutal lines: check-in lines, bag drop lines, security lines, passport lines depending on where you are. Some airports have priority lanes or fast-track options that may apply to certain passengers, and sometimes older travelers can be accommodated through a special lane or a quicker process. Not always, but often enough that it's worth asking. Here's the question. Do you have any priority lanes or fast-track options for seniors? That's it. Say it with a smile. Say it with patience. Don't say it like a demand. You're not threatening anybody. You're simply asking what's available. And let me tell you why tone matters. Staff deal with stressed, rude travelers all day long. When a calm, respectful senior walks up and asks politely, staff often want to help. You're giving them an easy moment in a hard shift. Now let's move to one of the biggest comfort upgrades: seating. This is where I need to set expectations honestly. Not every airline gives free upgrades. Not every flight has extra seats available. And if a plane is completely full, you might not get anything. But seniors often miss out on better seating opportunities because they don't realize how seating actually works behind the scenes. Airlines constantly adjust seat maps. People cancel, people no-show, families get rearranged, passengers miss connections. The airline blocks seats for operational reasons and then releases them later. That means the seat map you see 24 hours before the flight is not the final truth. So here's a strategy that can sometimes work in your favor. Don't assume checking in the second it opens gives you the best seat. Sometimes checking in too early locks you into a seat, while better ones open later.
later. So if you're comfortable doing it, try checking in closer to departure, a few hours before, and refresh the seat map again. Sometimes you suddenly see aisle seats or forward seats or seats with extra legroom open up that weren't available earlier. Now, I'm not saying always check in late. If you're flying an airline with strict check-in rules or you're worried about losing your seat, don't risk it. Use common sense. But if you're on a stable booking, you already have a confirmed seat, and you just want to see what opens up, that's a smart move, and it costs nothing to check. Now we get to boarding, the part of flying that can be unbelievably exhausting for older travelers. Boarding lines can mean standing shoulder to shoulder, holding bags, waiting 20 to 30 minutes, people pushing, families juggling strollers, everyone trying to get overhead bin space. Here's a secret many people never hear announced. Some airlines can provide priority boarding for senior travelers, but it might not be printed on the ticket. So you ask the gate agent, "Do you allow priority boarding for senior passengers?" That's the phrase. And if they say yes, you might board earlier, which means you get settled, you get your bag stored without stress, and you're not standing in that crowd. Now let's talk about the moment that feels like airport magic, the gate. This is where a lot of upgrades and seat improvements happen, not at the check-in counter, not on the app, but at the gate right before boarding. Here's what's happening behind that counter. Gate agents are dealing with last-minute cancellations, missed connections, standby lists, seating conflicts, families trying to sit together, crew needs, and operational changes. When a better seat becomes available, gate agents often have discretion, meaning they can decide who gets moved. So instead of sitting quietly in the waiting area hoping something happens, this is your move. Approach the desk at a calm moment, not when they're actively boarding, not when they're stressed, and say, "Hi, I'm a senior traveler. If a more comfortable seat opens up, would it be possible for me to switch?" That's it. Notice what you're doing. You're not demanding an upgrade. You're not asking for something impossible. You're asking to be considered if something becomes available. Gate agents are much more likely to respond well to that. And if you're traveling with an older parent, you can say, "My mom is a senior traveler. If a more comfortable seat opens up, could she be considered?" Now, let's talk about what more comfortable can mean. Sometimes it's as simple as an aisle seat instead of a middle seat. Sometimes it's a seat closer to the front, so there's less walking. Sometimes it's a seat with extra legroom. Sometimes it's moving away from a busy area near the restroom if the noise is stressful. Those small changes can completely transform the flight for an older traveler. Now, a quick warning. Do not ask this when the agent is overwhelmed. If the line is long and people are angry and they're dealing with a delay, wait. Timing matters. Ask when there's a lull. Ask with kindness, because again, your tone is your superpower. Now, once you're actually on the plane, here's a smaller perk, but it's real. Sometimes cabin crew have discretion. Not always, not every airline, not every route, but if you need something like extra water, a warm drink, or a small snack, ask politely. You can say, "Hi, do you have any complimentary drinks or small snacks available?" Or simply, "Could I please get some extra water?" A lot of flight attendants will help if they can. And for seniors, a little extra water or a warm tea can make the flight feel much easier. Now we're going to talk about the part that matters the most, the part that costs people money and misery because they don't know what to do when things go wrong. Delays, cancellations, missed connections, overnight disruptions, rebookings. This is where most travelers just sit there frustrated, accepting whatever happens. But depending on where you are flying, what airline you're on, and what caused the disruption, you may be entitled to assistance. Meals, hotel, transport, rebooking, refunds, sometimes even compensation. I'm not going to pretend every rule is the same everywhere. It's not. Travel rights vary by country and region, and airline policies vary too. But the principle is universal. If you don't ask for what you're entitled to, you often don't get it. So when there's a serious disruption, here's the sentence you can use. "I'm a senior traveler, and I'd like to request the full assistance and compensation available for this disruption." That sentence does two things. One, it signals you're not just going to walk away quietly. Two, it gives the staff a framework. Okay, let's check what we can offer. Hotel vouchers, meal vouchers, rebooking options, refund options. And if you're traveling with a senior parent, you can say, "My dad is a senior traveler, and we'd like to request the full assistance available." Now, a tactical tip that can save you. When a disruption happens, don't wait. Options disappear quickly. Hotel vouchers run out. Rebooking seats fill up. If you can, get to the counter early or call the airline immediately. Also, don't be afraid to ask for specifics. You can ask, are meal vouchers available? Is hotel accommodation provided if we have to stay overnight? What are our rebooking options? Is a refund available if we choose not to travel? And here's another tip. Stay calm even if you're furious. I know it's hard, but calm gets results. The staff member in front of you is usually not the person who caused the problem. They're the person who can help you if you make it easy for them to help you. Now let's zoom out. We've covered a lot, so let me give you a simple travel day game plan you can follow, and you can use this for yourself or for your parents. Before the trip, check the airline's official site. Ask about senior fares. Don't assume the app shows everything. At packing and check-in, ask if there's any senior baggage allowance or flexibility. At the airport, request airport assistance if walking and standing will be exhausting. Ask if any priority lanes exist. For seating, check the seat map again closer to departure if your airline allows it. At the gate, ask politely about priority boarding. Ask politely if a more comfortable seat becomes available. On the plane, ask kindly for what you need: water, help, comfort. During disruptions, ask for full assistance and compensation options. Don't suffer silently. Now, I promised you a 3-sentence cheat code. Here it is. Save these in your phone. You can literally copy and paste this into notes. I'd like to request airport assistance for a senior passenger. Do you allow priority boarding for senior passengers? I'd like to request a more comfortable seat if it becomes available. If you remember nothing else from this video, remember those. And here's the final truth that most people don't like hearing, but it's real. These services exist, but they are often built for the people who ask. Airlines and airports aren't going to chase you down and say, "Excuse me, would you like to skip this line?" They usually won't say, "By the way, you qualify for help." They won't say, "You might be eligible for something," because if you don't claim it, they don't have to provide it. But now you know. So on your next flight, I don't want you to travel the hard way. I don't want you standing in the longest line, walking the farthest distance, carrying the heaviest burden, paying fees you didn't need to pay, or missing opportunities you could have with one simple question. You don't need a first-class ticket to travel with dignity and comfort. You need knowledge, and you need to use it. If this video helped you, please share it with someone who's 60 plus. Share it with your mom, your dad, your aunt, your uncle, your grandparents, your neighbors, anyone who travels and deserves an easier experience. And comment below, "I know my rights," because the moment you start asking the right questions, you stop traveling like everyone else. You start traveling like someone the system actually takes care of.